Hey everyone, Alan here, going live every day in August, and so here's today's broadcast. And I wanted to talk a little different today. Instead of talking about safety and self-defense, which most of the broadcasts this month will be on, I wanted to talk a little bit about martial arts and being a martial artist. And again, I want to tell people, if there's a topic you want me to talk about, please put it in the comments and I'll get to it on one of the other things. But today, talking about, hey Samuel, hey guys, the things go by quick, and if I miss you, I'm sorry, but I'll try to acknowledge and look at questions. But if I do miss, I will get back to them in the comments and stuff later. But good to have you guys on here, seeing some different people coming on. But hey Brenda, when I'm talking about martial arts, I do put that different than my safety and self-defense things. And that's why I have separate websites. Survive and Defend and Survive a Shooting focus on those topics. Your Warrior's Edge focuses on Hapkido and martial arts because they are different. Now, you can study a martial art and become better at defending yourself. I mean, that was the true reason, martial is in the title, martial arts anyway, related to war. But not all martial arts, and not everyone that trains in a martial art has that as a focus. Some people, their focus is more enjoyment. It's good exercise. It's almost a social activity for people. Some people study a martial art for... And again, the comments are going by quick, so I might not have to do those till later. But, Samuel's asking about studying a martial art to be able to defend yourself. Yes, no, maybe. Some martial arts have a focus that is more applicable to actually defending yourself. Other martial arts, they're geared more towards sport. Some people study martial arts in a manner that is almost a self-betterment, even a spiritual type of exercise and component. And actual fighting and defending yourself is not their focus. And so studying something like that, while it has many benefits, it might not benefit you if you're attacked out in the street. Now, my personal art of Hapkido, which does have a self-defense emphasis, it contains elements that are not absolutely necessary to learn how to fight and defend yourself. We do some different forms and exercises in Hapkido that you would not do on the street. There are people that argue, well, if you can't do them on the street, why are you even doing them? And that's because it's a martial art and we're learning more than just fighting. And I believe to become a martial artist, you become more than just a fighter. There are things in the martial arts that benefit us more than just learning how to defend ourselves out in the parking lot or on the street. One of the greatest benefits I think that you can get from the studying of martial arts and becoming a martial artist is the relationships you can make with others that are doing the same. And so Dwayne says, same thing, just for the art. Yeah, some people do study for the art, and there's a benefit there. And I said, I think the relationships that we form with our instructors, with our students, with other martial artists are some of the best things we gain. I moved to Korea in 1996 to further my Hapkido study, which I had only done a little in the States prior to that. And I was living and training in Korea, and then I returned to the United States to apply for law school. The following summer, after I got into law school, I went back to Korea. I actually got to live with my instructor and his family. They owned a little minbak, and they gave me my own room, so I had my own room and bathroom that I had, but then I ate with the family. And my instructor was teaching 4 classes a day, 1 on Saturday, so I went to all of those classes every day and trained. And then I'd go home with my instructor, we'd eat dinner. So relationships like that, that's a dream come true. Who wants to go to Asia and live with your instructor and study martial arts? That's the thing movies are made out of. And I actually got to do that. And I still go back and see those instructors today. I'm looking forward to my next trip back. We're hoping to go back here in 2018, see some Olympics, but also see my instructors. It's been over 20 years of a relationship with my instructors in Korea. That right there means so much. Other people that I have met through the martial arts. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to be going to Sault Ste. Marie, Canada, and seeing some people. The person who organized the event that I'm going to, Grandmaster Rudy Timmerman, I met him in the early 2000s in Jackson, Mississippi, and I've seen him at different events throughout the years. Most recently, I saw him a couple of months ago when I was at the Korea Martial Art Festival, where I got this t-shirt. I've been teaching there for a number of years. I got to see Grandmaster Timmerman there and a bunch of others. People like Jeff Booth, Kevin Janice, who I met years ago and have developed that relationship. Other people like Thomas Gordon, Greg Bledsoe, that I've met more recently within less than 10 years, but have developed a really good friendship. And it's always wonderful seeing these people, whether it's on the mat, whether it's out to dinner, whatever it is. The relationships formed with other martial artists is one of the best things that you can have. Now, other things about being a martial artist versus just learning to fight, you should be learning some culture of the art that you study. And that, I think, helps us develop, an awareness of the world. And I don't care if it's a Japanese art, a Korean art, an Indonesian art, an art that comes from Europe, the Philippines, Thailand. I don't care what art you're learning, but you should be learning some about the history and where that art came from and the culture that it came from. And that just broadens our experiences of knowing about the world. Personally, I've done the most study on Korean and Japanese arts. And I've lived in Korea and Japan and got to further those studies. I've done a little bit of training and studying. When I meet people from different styles and systems, I get introduced to it. I've had friends, and I've taken classes on Indonesian or Filipino or different Chinese arts. And that just broadens my scope of knowledge. And then I study the books, whether it's The Art of War or any of the other classics. That broadens our perspectives and our education, and that's part of being a martial artist more than just being a fighter. And I think that is a way to develop ourselves and make ourselves better. And then most martial arts have some type of code, some type of honorable system and way of living, whether it's the tenets of Taekwondo or Hapkido or anything else. You're going to find it there in most arts. And that helps us become better people if we actually learn and follow and practice those codes. And I think that's an important thing. It's not just saying them when we're in the training hall, whether it's a dojo, a dojang, wherever. It's not just reciting them. It's actually living and doing those outside. If you scroll down my wall just a little ways, you're going to see a video that I posted of some young men that were sticking up for a student with special needs in their school that was getting bullied. Now, these young men aren't necessarily martial artists, but they sure are living the code and embodying what all of us as martial artists should be like. Looking out for others, helping others, stopping the bullying that goes on wherever we see it and not taking part in that. And it could be as simple as, have you ever shared a martial art video that you ridiculed and made fun of? Why? Because they weren't doing what you do and you didn't think what they were doing met your standards of whatever your standards might be? And you laughed at them and called them a McDojo or this or that. And then everybody starts chiming in with, yeah, that's not how we do it. We're a real school. We train traditional and hardcore. We're not a McDojo. And then you make fun at what other people are doing. Why? Why do that? And you're not going to see any videos like that ever on my wall, and you're not going to see me jumping in, because I don't think that goes with the code that we should be practicing as martial artists. We should be better than that. If someone's doing something different from you, so what? Let them. Maybe they have different goals for training than you have. And what's wrong with that? I have videos out on YouTube where I talk about what the best martial art is. And the best martial art is the one that you practice and train in to reach your specific goals, whatever they might be. If your goal is to be an Olympic champion, don't come to my Hapkido classes, because I can't help you be an Olympic champion, because Hapkido is not in the Olympics. Okay? If your goal is something else, if your goal is to learn purely strict fighting as fast as you can, without any forms or any tradition or any Asian culture, don't come to my Hapkido classes, because they're not going to help you with your goal. Then I would recommend a short program by Kelly McCann in Combatives, or maybe heading to Peyton Quinn's Rocky Mountain Combat Applications Camp, or one of Bill Kipp's FAST programs, where you can learn some self-defense really quick without anything else. So you need to know what your goals are for your training. And I tell everyone out there, anybody that watches this is a martial artist. Why do we want to criticize those that are trying hard and doing things just because they're different? Now that's a little different than those that are out there frauding people and harming others with such and pulling the wool over people's eyes. But I'm going to leave all of that to other people to chase them down too, because I just don't have the time or interest, and I don't care about it. I'm too busy doing positive things with my martial arts and with helping people stay safe and defend themselves with my other programs. But I want you to think about that. If you're a martial artist and there's a code or tenets that you follow, are you really following them all the time? Because I think that's an important part of being a martial artist, is that we try to follow those, not just in the training hall, but all the time. And how we're treating other people, and how we're conducting ourselves. Okay? So think about that as a martial artist. When it comes to martial arts, there is no one best. There's no single best style. There is no secret sauce. It's pick the one that's going to help you fulfill your goals, train hard, train diligently, and stick with it. The difference between a grandmaster and a white belt is the time they've spent on the mat. And everyone that starts can improve and get up to the higher levels. And I'm not one that thinks a black belt is only those that have the extreme physical abilities of these extreme sport and athletes. Each individual can achieve the different ranks to their best level. Now, that might mean that I promote somebody up the ranks and they're not as good as this person going up the ranks. But if they are both achieving their best, they deserve to go up and to continue learning and progress to what their abilities are. And I'll tell you what, every person with those extreme abilities is going to reach a peak and start going back down. That's just the nature of age. And that's when the experience and the wisdom up here in the mind, we can help those coming behind us. And I know comments are passing and I'm missing them. I've seen the instructors not even follow the code. We all need to follow, student and instructors. You're so right, Brenda. I mean, we all need to practice that. And we all might slip and slide once in a while. I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect. But I'm trying. And I'm going to keep trying. And that's all we really can do. And if we fall off a little bit, we get back on and try to stay straight. If we make a mistake, we apologize for it and we drive on. So, I mean, that's the best that all of us can do. But you're right. Some people, it seems like they've just forgotten it completely, or they don't even care or try. And that's sort of sad. Because the martial art community, it should be tighter. it should be stronger. It should be more together than it is. And unfortunately, money and politics get in the mix, and sometimes that causes rifts between people, causes disagreements, arguments, even feuds, and that's sort of sad. One of the reasons I like the Korean Martial Art Festival every year is the host, Chief Master Thomas Gordon, really tries to keep politics off the floor and keep egos in check, and everybody is there to teach, train, learn, and enjoy the fellowship of everyone else. Now, are there politics? Yes. You can't get a big group of people without politics, and that's just a sad state that it is, but we really try to keep it at a minimum. I feel fortunate that my instructors are over in Korea, and I don't have to play politics in America. My loyalty and dedication is to them. My instructor, Lee Jun-gyu, is the person who has promoted me through up to 5th Dan. I don't want any other promotions unless it's from him. We got Robert saying, you're a gentleman with conviction. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that comment. I appreciate those. We all need to be gentlemen and ladies and people that are respectful for others. That's what martial arts really should be about. That's what being a martial artist should be about. The training that we develop and the physical skills we develop, which when we get to the root of it, remember I said martial means war. It means fighting, the capability to actually hurt other people. We should also be developing the character that we don't need to use that unless absolutely necessary. Okay? If you learn how to hurt others and you don't have a moral code and you don't have a strong character, you're just a thug. We don't need any more of those. There's enough. So that's how I differentiate, just teaching people to defend themselves, which I do in short courses, and teaching people Hapkido, the traditional martial art, all the way from white belt up through the black belts. I think over here, when you're learning the martial art, you're learning way more than the physical skills to fight and hurt someone. And I think that's very important. One of my instructors, a man that I greatly respect, Shion Dennis Dallas, when I first started teaching 15 or 16 years ago, he told me, Alan, if all you teach are the physical techniques, you're missing out on so much that martial arts can be. You have to be teaching the moral code and the character development and the cultural aspects and all these other things I've been talking about. He told me if you don't teach those, you're missing out. And I believed him. I still believe him. And I think that that's what all of us should be doing when we're teaching a martial art program and helping martial artists develop and grow. If all you're teaching is fighting, that's fine. There's a place for that. But if you're teaching a martial art, we want to do more. Robert says, thank you so much. I really appreciate those comments, Robert. A buddy Kevin just joined. Hello, Kevin. Brenda says, absolutely. I appreciate that, Brenda. And I know you guys are martial artists. I've seen your posts on Facebook and stuff. So I know that we're in the same line of thinking. And we need to get it out to more people to think like this. Again, and that's why I really have the 2 websites. Survive and Defend, Survive a Shooting. Go there to learn safety, self-defense. But Your Warrior's Edge, go there to learn more. And if you're a martial artist, I want you to go to Your Warrior's Edge. Not only do I share the Hapkido, but I share other things about character development, about having the courage. And, courage isn't just on the battlefield. Those young men I talked about earlier, that they have the courage to stick up for the person in their school that had special needs, that's courageous. And those young men are heroes and courageous for doing what they did. And they actually found out that the young man who had the special needs had some special qualities himself and was sort of a pretty cool kid to hang out with. And they learned that by sticking up for him and befriending him, and actually being the first people ever to go over to that young child's home to play with him, video games and stuff. So it's a win-win all the way around when those kind of things happen. I see some other people's going about things being tolerated, and they go by so fast it's hard to catch them all, but I do appreciate, and I will answer each and every comment, if I don't answer them here. Mark just joined. Been a long time. Mark, how buddy? Derek's there. Headed to the gym shortly. Got to school. Thanks. Hey, have a good workout, Derek. Appreciate you being here. Neil just joined. I know Neil's a martial artist too, and I know that he believed in what the stuff that I've been saying about martial arts are more than just fighting. Don't really have a lot else that I wanted to say. I've said pretty much what I wanted to as far as the difference between martial arts and the difference between learning to fight. I have to go to the gym pretty soon. I got another thing going on at 5, and then I'm teaching Hapkido tonight, so I'm going to close out here in just a minute. But to end, I want to reinstate that there is a difference between being a martial artist and learning how to fight. And if you're a martial artist, you should be practicing more than just the physical techniques that help you earn your belt. You should be learning a moral and a strong character code. Most arts have them. I personally think you should be learning some history and culture about where your art came from, wherever it came from. But again, you need to practice that code, that character development that you're learning 24/7. It's not just when you're in the dojang or the dojo or wherever your training hall may be. It's not just being respectful to students and instructors when you're at the training hall. It's being respectful to people all the time, wherever you are. That is true warriorship, and that's what a true martial artist is going to do. If you have topics you want me to cover, they can be martial arts stuff that I'm going to post on Your Warrior's Edge. They can be safety, self-defense stuff that I'll post on Survive and Defend. They can be active shooter stuff that I'll post on Survive a Shooting. Anything you want me to cover related to those 3 areas, I'm going to be doing these every day of the month of August. The Go Live Every Day in August Challenge. You can check that page out on Facebook and check out what Lou's doing to help people go live. But put them in the comments, and then I'll put those topics on future days. But until then, I want to say thank you for everybody that's been on here. Leave comments later. I'm going to reply to all of them. And have a great day. If you're training later today like I am, hope you have a great workout.